Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice.
Is there a way I can add background?
In a circle podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down those
Miss Jury.
walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek.
Your audio sounds horrible.
Space for all, let's
I'm not
lift
gonna
every
do
voice.
that.
So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Never the guest is running out of phone. Share the live, share the live.
In a circle podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another powerful edition of the Inner Circle Podcast. Tonight's episode titled A Unified Immigrant Community is a call to action, a reminder that when we come together, we are unstoppable, right? The immigrant community will come together, wherever you're from Mexico, from Liberia, from Ghana, from the African continent, from South America, from Europe, when we come together, we are very much unstoppable. So tonight, we're going to be discussing this topic. We have a few panelists joining us, here and there. And so we'll have a guest panelist actually joining us tonight. So we'll discuss this topic along with him. Whenever he comes, hopefully he can join us. But if not, my man Taylor and I will try to attack this, right? What does unity look like in our community? Whether you're from Liberia, whether you're from Mexico, you're from Canada, even you're from Western Europe, you're from Australia, wherever you're from, right? What does unity look like in the immigrant community? So tonight is going to be a great topic, a unified immigrant community. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. Today is Thursday, April 24th, and welcome again to another powerful edition of the Inner Circle Podcast. This is a community show. We hope you can join us 4 days a week. We are here 4 days a week, Tuesday to Thursday, 7:30 p.m. And then Sunday is our social segment, 8 p.m. So hopefully you can join this community. It's a growing community, by the way. It's trending. Inner Circle Podcast is trending. So I will let my panelists introduce themselves quick. Titus.
Abe, thanks for the opportunity tonight. Once again, I am elated to be here. I love these conversations, as we engage each other in the community. I enjoy these conversations and what we're doing in our community. It might not be displaying to show off right now, but trust that with time, a lot of pertinent information that we provide here will be of very great use to a lot of our folks within our community. So I'm glad to be here with you and Ms. Jury tonight. Let's have fun.
Okay, Miss Cherry.
Hi, I'm Miss Jerry, and after you said somebody was interested in uniting Africa, so I'm like, I need to come on to hear what they have to say. So I'm excited for tonight's topic.
Okay. Oh yeah. Hopefully he's yeah. We have a guest panelist coming. Hopefully he will join us. But if not, we can also talk about what unity look like to us, right? We are all immigrants, right? And a lot of I hear this country was built by immigrants, so we are all here. So we want to see what does unity look like to the immigrant community. So um folks, you can follow the Inner Circle Pack. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on on LinkedIn or X. Anyway, you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. So you can join the conversation tonight by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. And again, the topic is a unified immigrant community. So Titus, man, I will start with you. What does unity look like to you for the immigrant community? I mean, it's like America is like a melting pot, right? There's immigrants from all over the world. It's like a melting pot. So what does unity look like to you?
Abe, as we come from different orientations, different backgrounds, it almost appears that we are more different than we're similar. But the truth is that it is the opposite. We're more similar when you meet folks from different walks of life. The more time you spend with folks, engaging and interacting with different people, in spite of where we're from, East Africa, West Africa, Mexico, immigrants. You tend to really realize that there are more similarities with us. The food that we like, the hobbies, the common goals, especially in this exiled world that we're in. You find a lot of we're all aiming for a lot of similar goal, one end goal. So
Sure. Okay.
that's part of what unity looks like. But I look forward to diving more into those factors and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
others that will pop up during the conversation.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Hey, our guest panelist has joined us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Hey, man, Samson H. Williams, thank you so much for joining the Inner Circle podcast. You kind of suggested this topic, right? Unified immigrant community. What does So tonight we are so happy that you can join it. We are excited that you can join the Inner Circle podcast as an immigrant. We don't know what the vision is, so we'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience, and then we can go ahead and have this conversation. So, Samson, you unmute. You unmute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we can jump into things.
Sorry. There we go. Sorry for the interruption. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to Inner Cycle for the opportunity to be here tonight. It's a great thing. This is a great initiative, and I am so proud of what our community is becoming, and this is part of what encouraged me to come on the show because what I'm seeing here is a great initiative. I think these are things that should be happening in our community, as we're about to talk about tonight, and the fact that I see this happening, that means the community can get somewhere. There are possibilities and there are hopes. Amen. Okay, I just said amen. Forgive me. You're gonna hear that from me a lot.
Are you a pastor? Are you a reverend? Are you a pastor? Or what's up? What's up with that?
No, not a pastor.
Okay. Okay.
But
By the way,
I'm,
by
yeah.
the way, anyways, why a unified immigrant community? Why a unified immigrant community? And what role are you playing to unify the community?
So, just a little bit about what I do in the community, outside of the community, uh, nationwide, internationally. Here is what I do.
Mm,
I like to talk about my organization when I talk about unity.
mm,
I also try to talk about my individual perspective and my personal lifestyle when it comes to unity. However,
mm,
tonight I want to talk about things from a broader perspective as immigrants. I will focus a little bit on us as Liberians, just because we are all Liberians, and so well, many of us, not all of us, are Liberians, and so this topic was centered around how we can collaborate, how we're supposed to collaborate, how we're supposed to diversify our perspective, our approach to things, and our support for each other and whatsoever. So I've prepared my little template that starts by saying, uh, describing the landscape of Liberians in our community. The first thing we see is that Liberians are found everywhere, everywhere. Uh, you come to think of it, everyone knows Minnesota to be the Liberian hometown in
mm,
the United States of America.
mm,
Secondly, Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. Thirdly, uh, Atlanta, Georgia, right?
mm.
And you will see that we are very innovative. We are entrepreneurs. We are, small business owners. Besides, we are building nonprofits and we are doing businesses back home. There are
Okay.
just few problems. One of the problem we have is we do these things on a scale of division. We do these things on a scale of undermining. We do these things on a scale of, not understanding the power of collaboration. What
Okay.
I tell
So
Liberians, sorry.
yeah, let me just hold you there. Let me just hold you there. So your idea of a unified immigrant community is to unify the Liberian community, not the entire immigrant community in the United States. Let me just make that clear.
Well, so like I said, I try to narrow this down a little bit,
Okay.
but the entire immigrant community. But if we make that an argument, AB, I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, I do work around the Somali community. I do
Mm-hmm.
work around the Kenya community. I do work around the Togolese community, the Monk community, the Ethiopian community, and our community is unique. People think that Liberians are not. Liberians are very decent people.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to get around. We know how to like the room. That's one very good thing we have. We get in the place. Everybody know we are there. The only problem, like I said, is we don't know how to build what we get into.
Mm.
Not that we don't have the capacity, not that we don't
Okay.
have the resources, not that we don't have the technical skills, it's not that we don't have the entrepreneur skills or whatsoever. We just don't know how to collaborate because of certain tendency that we need to get rid of. I'll give you a
Okay.
typical example. If it is not me, why should it be you? Have you heard that Liberian saying?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Well, let me give my panelists an opportunity to, ask you a few questions here, and then we got more. So I will start with the lady first, Miss Jerry. Any question for Samson in terms of if his idea of unifying the immigrant community, specifically Liberians?
He said he do work with other community. I'm just curious to know what type of work he does. And also, he spoke a lot about Liberians not knowing how to collaborate. And I would also love for him to expand on that.
Okay, Samson. What work do you do in other communities or for other communities? And then what do you mean by Liberians don't collaborate? I guess that's what Miss Jerry want to understand from you.
That's a great question, and she just peeked right into some of the things I have jotted down to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And let me start a disclaimer here. I came to talk about unity, especially in our Liberian community, with no mind of denigrating our community. However, we came
Mm-hmm.
to speak the truth and tell people what we observe the power is when it comes to unity and how we can dive into that power and make things better than we are seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so for our work, I am the founder and
Mm-hmm.
executive director of LUFEM, Liberians United for Future Empowerment. I am the founder of JFA. It's a popular one. There are a lot of collaborations with JFA and other organizations around. JFA is Justice for All initiative here in Minnesota. We do have partnership with the Justice Program in Minneapolis, where police accountability is being discussed almost every day. And then I also run Williams Proceed Legal Assistance Services, providing immigration and legal advocacy services to individuals who cannot afford attorneys. And so we've been running Williams Proceed since 2018, August 15. JFI is a little new, but Lufem and Williams Proceed 2018 initiatives that we started here in Minnesota.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
uh, and then I've been part of several other establishments. Titus and AB and I have been on the sports committee before. I presided over East Coast. You see right behind me, you see my trophy. Uh, and
Are you
I've
a
been with
lawyer
United
though?
Brothers.
Not to
Say-
cut you off.
Sorry.
Are you a lawyer?
No, we're legal advocates.
Okay, okay,
We're legal advocates.
okay.
So yeah, these are things that we do in the community. We've done several others, but I just like to stop here for
Yeah.
now. As
Yeah. Yeah.
far
So so
as
so so
oh,
so
sorry,
wait.
go
Let
ahead.
me let me hold you there though, right? You just said a lot there. So your one you got, is it three nonprofits or two nonprofits
No,
and
three.
one for profit, or
Actively at three right now.
yeah, three nonprofits. How, well, I mean, what time do you have? Like, I mean, how do you balance your time doing all of those things?
So here is the thing. Uh, I I'm one of the guys who asked God, can there be more than 24 hours in a day? But he told me no, it's gonna stick to 24 hours. Uh I try not to take away family time. That is cardinal for me. And you'll see I work from home. That's the good thing about it. And so I spend a lot of time in my home. So not too much time. Sometimes it's distracting where you gotta, deal with family and then deal with your work. However, we have a lot of partnerships. We have volunteers, people that come in and help us do some of this work. But I try to stay on top of supervision because,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Tadas, question from you to Samson.
So
You on mute.
Samson, thank you for coming on. We truly appreciate your presence here tonight. As far as, yeah, I mean, you're juggling a lot, man. So we
Thank
we
you.
kind of expected to talk about immigrant within, I mean, unity within the immigrant community. However, it seems you want to focus more on the Liberian community. Is that correct? Am I getting you correctly?
Well, I do not have a problem with getting outside of scope. So feel free to ask me a question about immigrant
Okay.
community in general. The
Okay.
reason I repeat that the reason I said the Liberian community is because when you talk about immigrant community, if you were to talk about things that are not being done properly, you will see in other communities those things are being done properly. And
Okay.
so
So
that's why I
that
try to
kind of
narrow my
that
focus.
leads
But
that really leads me to the question I want to ask, because you work extensively within the Liberian community,
yeah,
and you mentioned that you work with other communities like the Somalians, East Africans, what have you. What are some of the challenges that you see within the Liberian community that are mirrored within those other community? Or feel free to point out the contrast thereof.
thank you. Let's start with the issue of culture, right? Let's start with the issue of culture. I'll give you a typical example. I am a global man, and my children are growing up, and I mean, they're speaking English. I'm speaking a broken or pigeon, and I try not to see it, you know, okay enough to push myself, excuse me, to identify or learn what or how these children are communicating. Now, you have to understand, we are in a social media age. Our children are used to Wi-Fi and TikTok. We are used to speaking our Pele and Basa and making palm butter and cassava leaf whatsoever. So how do we get from the place, or how are we able to balance our personal lifestyle from home with what our children are being born into? So in order to fade, you'll see that we are just mix matching the entire thing. Okay. We want to identify with this culture because our children are growing in a culture, but we find it difficult to detach ourselves from our culture to I mean, it's called cultural relativism, right? So you are able to detach yourself from your culture and just fit in. We're struggling with that. That's one common example. How we relate and interact with our children. Also, staying on the issue of culture, how do we teach our children about what we do and how we do things in Liberia versus how things are done here? Children in Liberia don't have to go to school in the morning. They're looking for, they can barely eat breakfast before going to school. Our children have all of those things. How do we set them down to talk about conversations around, well, being appreciative, helping other children that are in need? Where am I from? What do we do there? How do we do things differently? So that conversation within the home amongst the children. It also goes down to how we support one another as a community. Let's go down to businesses, right? We set up a business, and you will find me being comfortable with interacting with a non-immigrant community and staying put to all the regulations, all the policies, and what have you. When I come to my community, it's like, oh, isn't that all of us? That's how we do it. That tendency of not wanting to adhere to what you're able to adhere to in the other communities. So we treat it as, well, that's just that my brother. That's just that my Kenyan brother. Let me take it that way for a second. That's just
Okay.
this person. That's just that person. We're not able to understand, well, it's business, or it's professionalism. You don't want to treat it that way. You just want to treat it as, oh, it's all of us, man.
Okay.
That tendency is an effect.
Okay. First of all, so it's like, I mean, like, glad like you brought this topic, about unified immigrant community. It seems that you're passionate about unity in the immigrant community, especially in the Liberian community. What part are you playing to unify the community? And do you think you're a positive voice in the community? Do you think you're positive, the contributing to the community?
The answer is pretty simple, and the work we have done in the community so far speaks for itself. I will start with the churches.
Mm.
A lot of Abe, I've worked with the Christian community for I don't know how long, and my work with the Christian community is I don't see man church, I see how best. So one of the things our organization do is, when we help churches get their registration, get their status, and whatever, we built a system. You'll find out that, I'm not going to say church's name, but you'll find out that we built system that, when I say system, I'm talking about registering your church, building your reporting system as a nonprofit organization. You'll see that we have helped a lot of churches build one system that we have, our organization, that help nonprofit organizations, especially the churches, do easy reporting. Churches don't know that they have fiduciary responsibility. They do, because they are nonprofit organizations. So what we do is we help them build platforms that just put their report together at once at the end of the year, and they're just able to file their taxes, file their report, and keep it in line with state regulations. So we on the Christian community side, we are doing that. Let's come to the sports community. You guys know I've worked with the sport community for all of the time I've been here. Tito's one of those that introduced me to the community in 2008 when I moved to Minnesota. I jumped right in the sport community, and we grew from the place of just being soccer player to the place of helping sports organization, beginning with United Brothers, not United Brothers, beginning with FAF, Friends and Family. Then we move on to United Brothers. All of you saw my work with United Brothers. Came from nowhere, structure the organization, move it on to a nonprofit organization, was structure and reporting. We saw money coming in just from the methods and strategies we put into play. And so bringing all of the community. One of the things we did with the sport community is the recommendation that you see in the pack today, that around the hours, we made that possible by the grace of God. We suggested and did a draft of something called the Confederation of African Sport, or African Soccer.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
During my leadership role with United Brother, we introduced that. Then we moved on to East Coast. That's the sports community. Now let's talk about on the professional side, small business setup. We are registering nonprofits for people for only $50. We're helping you set up your nonprofit organizations. We are providing trainings. We're doing board trainings and what have you. When I was appointed by Governor Dayton as trustee for higher education in the state, every one of you saw that. After my training, I came back to the community and introduced, during the leadership of the leadership of Georgia Gray, when she was executive director. You saw that we introduced the scholarship program through the OLM. That's one of the things we brought back to the community. So we have been making our contributions. We're still making our contributions. Like we said, we're helping immigrants who cannot afford Antonies. We are making these things easier. We're helping them in code process. There are too many,
Okay.
things that are on our decks right now, and we're making our contribution. But that leadership piece, you first got to be embraced by
Sure.
people who see the need or see that, what, I think this person that has something in them that I'm able to tap into.
Okay. Thank you for that. Miss Jerry, question from you to Samson.
Just give me 1 second, Jason. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh no, sorry. Okay, so I have a question. I know you talked a little bit about children and kind of like how do we help them keep their identity within the U.S. and also how do we teach them their identity as Liberians growing up in America in general. So, is there any initiative within your organizations that is focused on the children and the youth, just educating them on their cultural heritage and also ways they can still be Liberian and still be Americans?
That's a great question. So there's something we do. I was very thrilled last night about the young man in presentation, and it's great. We also do something called mentorship in leadership role. So one of the things that JFA is doing in the Liberian community, we're building leaders, right? And the leadership we're building are amongst youth. So we have this Black History Month where we go from high school to high school. I don't wait to get invitation. I write high schools. As a matter of fact, I did a meeting with a high school yesterday. We write high schools and say we want to come and talk about Black History Month. We want to come and that. So we taught them the caliber of students we really want to see in the room, but the invitation is to all students. So we go in there and we talk about, culture. We talk about, practices that have to do with us as Africans in general. We talk about our history and those kind of things. So we have that initiative where we are going to high school, picking up young men. Now we also have partnership with a group called Nest that recruit young basketball players. I think into that because my son plays basketball and he's passionate about it. So I had the privilege to, network with a group that recruits young basketball player. My role in there is just having conversation with these individuals, young men,
Okay.
young women, and telling them that sports is not just it. It's a talent, but it's not a career. So we're helping on that bridge.
Okay.
Also, other than that, in Minneapolis right now, my friend Justin Terrell, who run the Justice Initiative as well, started a partnership with us, and we are now working with youth in all around Minnesota to come to something we call the Youth Development Symposium. And so we are also doing that right now, just making sure that youth come together to understand that number one, we talk about the power that is on the inside. Number two,
Okay.
we talk about your ability of being a leader, how and why a youth should become a leader or could become a leader. And so we are doing those things right now. Yeah.
Okay. Titus, question from you, and then I got more good in from Samson. Question
Great,
from you.
great, great. Samson, you're doing really great tonight. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
So I know that you're also an enthusiast of technology, right? And you have all these different programs going on. How do you incorporate technology in your strategies to unite, community, to foster the projects that you're taking on, that are to align unity within the community? What role does it play?
Thanks for bringing that up, Tyler. You said that just right. When I was coming to the United States, everybody thought something would be a computer guru because besides being a police officer, you Tyler, that's what I did. I repair computer in the street. I have my workshop. You Tyler, you know that. And
That
this
is a
is
fact.
something I always been passionate about. I still do repair computers, but it's kind of time consuming thing. Not that it's not knowledge, but then we have gone onto the other side. So yes, but technology is something we cannot live out. And I like one of Jerry's questions last night. She asked the young man, how do you help our organization structure this? Just building this platform. Do you have an app? Can you build an app for my organization? We don't operate outside of our shop. I mean, our websites. We have our website. You can check our website. If Justice for All Initiative .org is open. People go there and see. You will see some of the work we have done. It's on our site. You will see testimonials, you see these things. So we cannot operate outside of technology. I mean, typically speaking, we got to take a lot of phone calls. I carry three cell phones and three computers every day for work. Three cell phones and three computers. Not because I want to bluff. It's because that's how the world run, right? It's because that is how the world run. And believe me, we do nothing outside of technology because people got to sign up. Now, the new thing we have introduced in JFI and LUFEM is not LUFEM, but Williams Rossi is you got to sign up online. So what we are promoting here is for people to get technological. Technologically potent when it comes to connecting with us. Because first of all, we do a lot of research, look for organizations to network with, and so you will see that we are spending a lot of time on the computer. The
Okay.
reason you see me straining my eyes like this is because I'm talking to you with all my glasses. Technology, the way forward now is technology. So we are deeply involved with technology. We are not training people because we don't have the license or the credential in America to train people when it comes to technology. But one thing the young man said last night, I like to close on your question on is you see that automation is becoming the order of the day.
Okay.
We'll share a quick story with you. I went to North Dakota, where I also have clients, and we also help individuals. There, I went to North Dakota, and I was walking in a Walmart, and then I saw this machine. I still have that video, and I saw this machine just moving around. I was on the pharmacy side in the Walmart in North Dakota, Fargo, and I saw this machine just moving around. And I stopped. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for the person controlling the machine. And
Okay.
little did I realize that there was nobody. The machine was moving because the machine is built in that way. Is it being controlled? I don't know. I just didn't understand. So I did a little video. Then I went to one of the managers in the store. I said, "Who's controlling that machine?" Well, he said, "It's AI." And I'm like, "What you
Okay.
call AI?" So you telling me is that? So I'm just trying to say everything we do around technology, and we are also encouraging people in our work we do advocacy work.
Okay.
Go research.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing a unified immigrant community. We have a guest panelist here, Samson H. Williams, with us, kind of providing his idea of unity and specifically as related to the to the Liberian immigrant community. So you can contribute to this conversation by putting a comment in the chat and also by calling our number 952-594-5154. If you have a question for Samson or if you want to, if you have any comment, concern, how can we unify the Liberian immigrant community? Or maybe that the immigrant community as a whole, but Liberian immigrant community specifically. That's what Samson want to focus on. But Samson, man, you mentioned you have three organizations, right? Can you, for the education of our audience, right? Each of those projects or each of those nonprofits that you have, I just want you to list two specific services that you provide, right, for each of those nonprofits, two specifically, two for each of those nonprofits, so our audience can understand what specifically do you do, right, for each of those projects.
So I will start with Justice for All Initiative, JFI. Like I said, it's the biggest one. It's out there. You see our website. So we are human rights advocacy group. That's the legal advocacy we do. There are and in collaboration with Williams Proceed because there are a lot of individuals who are seeking legal services and they don't have the kind of money to pay attorneys to do these services for them. And so what we do at JFI is we advocate for you. Every Thursday you see JFI at the federal court, uh, just advocating for individuals that are facing deportation. We work in partnership with the Lutheran Social Services. They are there every Thursday. We are there as well. So we are advocating for immigrants who are on deportations, who are looking for attorneys. And then one good thing about it is we have gotten the courts to understand that when individuals cannot afford attorneys, they need people who will be their voices when they can't speak. We have a lot of barriers that will cause a person to be not knowing they're doing the right thing or wrong thing. And so for that reason, they are being penalized by the law, by our
Okay,
justice
Samson,
system.
let me just hold you there for a minute. We have a caller. Always I gotta give our audience an opportunity.
Please
We
go
have a
ahead.
caller who have called, so let me make sure that he can contribute to the show, and then from there we'll go. I'll give you the opportunity to answer my questions about.
So
If you're
Doesn't
muted,
you're muted? Okay, I don't know. Something is at work.
some technical issues there. Sorry about that, folks. We're having some technical challenges tonight.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, sorry guys, sorry. Sorry, yeah, I was trying to connect our caller, and sorry about that. Sometimes that's what happened. We were talking about technology, and we were having some technical, some technical difficulties. But anyway, caller, your name and what you're calling from, and what's your contribution to the show.
Okay, anyway, my name is Jeremiah Morris, and I think people know who talking on the show right now. This is Jeremiah Morris, and
Where are you calling from?
okay, I'm calling from Minnesota, the heartbeat of Minnesota. But many people know me at G Nation. Probably, I think your guests also know me because I'm going to be. I just want to say one or two things,
Okay.
and this is a very, very important information that the community need to be aware of certain things.
Okay.
And I have facts, I have evidence, I have proven facts to prove everything I'm going to say today on the show about the guest that is on the show.
Okay.
I'm not the first victim of this guest. This guest is not good for this community. This guest is terrible, is dangerous. When it comes to any immigration work in this community, I'm not hiding my facts. I'm going after the show. I will go back on live for him, like I already started posting, and I'm calling all meaningful people from Liberia, every other platform we doing to bring down his character until he be able to reserve and pay my money. This guest and us in October 2021, we signed a retaining agreement on an immigration. When people told me about immigration, I thought he was good enough. He stood in the church and make people to know that he's an immigration man. I went to this man. I had receipt that he issued me in his office. I had cashed out some of the money that I paid him. I will even send it over to, if you want it, I will send the information of everything I'm discussing right now. This guy, because when I engaged this guy yesterday, he blocked me on social media because he don't want to have the interaction. This guy is a fraud in the community when it comes to immigration. He's a massive fraud, and it's not good for our community. Some of us, we have been speaking about the ills of certain people in this community. I've been one of the men in this community that has stand against OLM in so many things. And I'm not giving up my advocacy because I want this community to proceed in the best function. But I want to say that this guest that you have on today, inner circle, I see some decent people on your platform, like my brother Tactus, and I even spoke to a couple of your technical people in the background before I even come in to make a call. And I decided to make a call to bring some clarity to the community that whatever that Samson Williams is saying, nobody should buy and subscribe into these things. These are blatant lies. These are scams, words. Samson William picture has not just been, it's not just me, it's the person. I'm not on a victim. Samson William picture has appeared on CG platform about fraud. And we took it. 2021, I paid Samson William $2,000 to do an immigration work for me. Samson William took that money without doing a single paper.
Okay.
Samson gave me a number of somebody else, making me to know there was a kid number for my daughter wedding. Which is why you see me a little bit emotional explaining this thing, because my daughter is involved. My kid is involved.
Okay.
Samson William made me to understand that he put in my daughter paperwork. I waited for Samson William. When he gave me the kid's number, I forwarded this kid all through. This particular thing I'm telling you, I will call names of people who are involved.
Okay. I think we're honest. I think we'll get the gist of it. Okay, we'll get the gist of it, right? We'll get it. I mean, we'll get it. We understand. So let us give the guests the opportunity, to address a concern. And thanks so much for calling. We appreciate the call, and you know what I mean. If anything, right? Obviously, there's a country of law, right, and things like that. So anything you might have, but thank you for contributing to the show.
Yeah, I know there's a culture of law, but something we don't feed the full weight on social media about a character. I personally would determine a character on social media.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Jeremiah, for the call. Thank you. Thanks for contributing. So. Samson, man. So we're talking about unity in the Liberian community, as I asked you earlier. Right? What's your response to what was just said about you, about your character, about the accusation, about those are allegations for me, as I said, right? We are Inner Circle Park here. We are very neutral. We don't, we are not here to take any side, right? So it's just an accusation because it is something. I think, thankfully, the reason why I'm always proud to be an American, an immigrant American, a Liberian American, because it's a country of law. So if someone have issues, right, they can take it to the law. So, but what's your reaction to what you just heard? Because that's huge right there. Obviously, someone saying a lot about your character and things like that. So, what's your reaction to that?
Maybe your party statement with that caller, just answer it. And I've said something here. Our Liberian community, and that's part of the reason why I want to focus on our Liberian community. You have followed me in the community for so many years. You, to some extent, Titus, every one of you guys have worked in my leadership. One thing that our people would not embrace is you being principled when it comes to, how you do business. You become the bad person, you become the fraudster, you become the scammer once you tend to keep to principle. And like I said, we want to do things the back home way, as we say. For me is unprofessional. Find it. I'm not ditching the color, but I find it, outside of scope for this platform to address those kind of issues. Like you said, this is a very professional, well respected place, and for that, you just see some of the problems we have in the community. My organization don't do anything outside of contract.
Okay.
Our people problem is we don't read these contracts. I've never worked for anyone outside of contract. I've never not given you a receipt. I'm glad he mentioned he got a receipt when he hired us. I'm not going to dive into his case because it's personal. Like you said, he's emotional and he's going on there. I'm too intelligent and too wise to use this platform to address, transactional issue with our business and customers dissatisfaction. But what I would say is you find in every business settings, customers are dissatisfied. None of them means what they're dissatisfied about or the accusation they have, they are true. But if we did business with you and gave you a contract to sign, and you think there was a breach in that contract, or you had a dissatisfaction and you pay for a service you did not get, then you go to the court. These are things that we want to talk about. So coming on social media to talk about, oh, this man did this man, I worked for the man since 2021. Yeah, you've been working with me since 2021. How come if you feel dissatisfied 2025, you're coming up? Where has been the court? If you're sure of what you're talking, where has been the civil court? But you see, that's the community we're talking about. We found social media to be the place where we go and denigrate people integrity, and then we come and say, during the summer we go on the soccer field and we all shout. But one thing I would end by saying, I've gotten to the place to say, well, why it is true, it is hurtful for people who, and the thing about me, I wouldn't go on social media to go explain what that young man is talking about. If I were to go on social media to go explain, I'd be reducing myself. We're not, no disrespect. He a small brother. He would tell you that I brought him to church to start singing praise and worship. He would tell you I put him in East Coast Gold Post when I became president for East Coast. But he's not mentioning those things. He's dissatisfied. He's hurt. It happened in business. Customers get dissatisfied. But should I stand on social media to come discuss your dissatisfaction? That is outrageous. I don't do that.
So is it because of some of the negativity, right? Something like that, right? As I said, right? So me, as I said, we are Inner Circle Podcast here. We don't pick any bone, right? Is that we are here to promote positivity, to promote immigrants that are doing positive things in the community. Obviously, sometimes we take one or two controversy here, right? And things like that, right?
Oh, yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. But we always want to know what folks are doing positively in our community. And we're here to elevate and amplify any voice that is doing something in the immigrant community, because that's what we are passionate about. But is it because of the negativity you see in our community? Is that why you brought Is that what you brought in about, the unified immigrant or
Yeah.
or uniting the immigrant community, especially Liberian immigrant community? And as I said, right, the how does that unity looks like to you though when you have the kind of situation, right? How can we address that? Because to me, quite frankly, personally, if I have to put my personal view into this, I don't think there was a platform, right, to call or maybe go on social media to say you guys should articulate to code or whatever. But sometimes we Liberians address things differently. But what does that unity mean to you, right? How does that look like to you? How can we address these kind of negative things?
So first of all, you got to identify the level of understanding or reasoning of the person you're interacting with, and be able to control yourself. Okay, I could stay here and be getting and go back and forth with Jeremiah, but what am I saying? I'm an advocate. I can take the hit. Like he said, somebody want to say this show, but that same person came back to apologize. So here is the thing: we make sacrifices so that people understand that, look, I think the way I went about this thing was totally wrong. Maybe I should have had a different approach. Okay. Uh, in our community, we do not take time to assess our pre-actions before our actions. We act before we think. How does that help the community? Doesn't help. The reason I became interested in honoring this invitation was after I got the invitation from my professional colleague who met me at the Humphrey School. We were in a meeting, and after we had a meeting with the mayor of St. Paul, and then after that meeting, she came like, "Are you Liberian?" I'm like, and she like, "Wow, your exposé was very great," and I'm like, "Well, you did great," and I mean, you're young and doing your PhD. I'm really proud of you. And this, that, I wish I would just forget about all these master degrees and do my PhD, but I'm scared of it. And we laugh about it. But then I came on because one night, it's been a couple of weeks, you guys did a show that I called on, I believe, or I made comments, and I reached out to thousands. I'm like, are you guys not seeing the comments? And that was when I bought my coin, so thinking that was a way for my comments to be seen. But then
sure,
you guys were discussing the community again. You're discussing the immigrant community again. And I listened, I said, wait. There is something missing in this conversation. Where is the unity piece? The how and the why. How do we get together as a community? How do we unify the community? Let's say this person is dissatisfied with what kind of business they did at an African store, maybe Waterside Market or whatever you. And they go to Waterside Market. There's something called customer dissatisfaction, customer services, and that everybody understands. So you were dissatisfied with something, you go to the owner of that store, you say, I'm dissatisfied, or one of the guys working there say, I'm dissatisfied with the service I received. Okay, can we have a conversation? It starts by having a conversation. It starts by civility. All right.
Okay.
How you sit down to put the issue. It doesn't go by tearing one another down. It doesn't go by choosing to do business with this person over your African brother business when the two people have the same business. No disrespect to the people we met here. It's that support piece. It's that piece that comes with the mindset of, you know what, this is our own. Until we get to the place to see that what you're doing at Inner Circle affects me positively, I wouldn't spend my time watching or listening to Inner Circle. I would think that, well, maybe Tadas and Abe and Jerry, they're just trying to promote themselves and show themselves on the camera, but you are impacting the community positively. And so how do we see that to be think that are positive? We don't have the mindset. Do you know why? It is the lack of knowledge. Our people need to embrace knowledge and system.
Well, folks, tonight we are discussing a unified immigrant community in the mix of discussing this, right? A controversial pop-up, something pop-up. We I personally feel as the host of this platform that it should be handled, in a different way. But it popped up, so we have to do our best to address it. But you can contribute to the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154, or by putting a comment in the chat. So, folks, let's say we have Samson H. Williams here. He came tonight to discuss a unified immigrant community. How can we unite the immigrant community, especially the Liberian immigrant community? He feels we need unity among us. Titus, what's your question for Mr. Williams?
So just staying on this piece of expressing our grievances in our community, it seems, a lot of us, I won't even say a lot. Again, Abe has this term where he said a noisy minority. right? The noisy minority has a way of going out to the media, social media, and expressing their grievances. It leads me to wonder, Samson. In other communities, you see structure, you see leadership. The people in other communities have a way to seek redress for what is hurting them, dissatisfaction, whatever. Do you think part of what we're experiencing here within the Liberian community and just a little thing we take onto the social media, do you think part of that is due to the lack of leadership, elders, council of elders traditionally handling conflicts within our community?
Yeah. Uh, the lack of leadership is a problem. It's serious. Needs to be addressed. We have leaders in the community who are not understanding the importance of their role beyond their scope. For example, we have the churches and we have the mosques. These are two uh, institutions that come from two uh, well practiced or most practiced religions in our community, the immigrant community. And you will find that pastors will think they're restricted to their churches. So they don't always go beyond their churches. They are restricted to their churches. That's wrong. We have imams who think that, well, I'm called here to pray. The people who don't like our religion will not listen to me when I get out there. So there's no point of me getting out there to get involved with the community. Just my people that come to the mosque on Friday to pray. That's a wrong tendency. That's a wrong perception. Okay. There are inspirations that are given to people who really don't understand what they're doing in life.
Okay.
I had this experience one time where I got in a place and everybody were just talking, talking, talking. This was not a Christian community, and I opened my mouth and began to give my position on the subject on the discussion. And the
Yeah.
first question that came to me: "Are you a Christian?" Yes, I am. And
Okay.
everybody went quiet for a second. Why? Because people out there don't believe what we carry on the inside, that we make our presence felt in a positive way. The idea of wanting to use that ability to support people on the ground to
Yeah.
tear one another down in the community does not help the community. But I would just drift a little bit in that question to say there is still hope
Okay.
for the community. There
Okay.
is still hope because there are a lot of young entrepreneurs coming up in the Liberian community. There are individuals who, are doing great. Look at the gentleman we had last night. I'm so proud of him. All right.
Yeah.
There are individuals who are still doing great. The problem is when we start experiencing these things, then we're scared. We're
Okay.
scared to get out there and do more.
Okay.
Okay. And do more. Like
Okay.
Pe- people need help. People need psychological help. Our community, we're seeing the thing that's trending on Facebook right now in our community with
Yeah.
this girl in the hospital and fighting a court and this that.
Yes, yes.
How has the community approached it? Got to the point where it went to court. She got arrested, go to court, went to jail, went to court. Then the whole community got around. Then it started. Why be reactive? Why not being proactive?
Okay.
Why is the community not proactive in addressing some of these things? There are psychological, there are mental health issues that are happening. There are, serious breakdowns, relationship, and how do we get together as church leaders, as imams, and what have you, to mold our people outside? Everything will not come from the Quran. Everything will not come from the scripture. Some of these things come from moral, and that's part of the reason why in one of my books, you will hear about moral politics, and I took that book, Felon for President. I took that book from the concept of, hey, we need to understand, if the subtitle for my book is called Felons for President, and the subtitle is, if they can run the country, they can run companies.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss Jerry, question from you, from Samson.
I just have a question. So, what structures or measures do you have in place to handle customers' satisfactions within your organizations? And how do you hold yourself accountable for what just happened?
Great question. The second part of that question, like I said, I don't want this show to be dive into my personal business thing because that's not what it's about. It's about promoting. But I think the first part of your question is very great. How do you handle customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction? Uh, and let's not keep it to what just happened, but let's
No,
keep it on a broad spectrum where you say when these things happen in our community, how do we handle them? So one thing we do on our end is we are open to conversations. We're open to hearing your dissatisfaction. If I will go back a little bit, you will find out that this gentleman had brought 3 leaders who were all seeing what we did for him, but he still said that's lie. So that's the approach. We create room for conversation. Now, one thing in our contract is before you go to court, let's do mediation. I'm a strong support of ADR, alternative dispute resolution, right? So when we are giving you a platform to have open doors, I'll say not platform, but open doors to have a conversation about your dissatisfaction. But your first approach would be to social media. Come on now, Jerry, how do I discuss that kind of thing? Let's be honest here. Instead of coming, you signed a contract. You did not read the contract. You breached the contract. You will not read the contract. And one thing I will community, we got to understand. People say fine print shouldn't be read. It takes time and this, that. But we have to understand that these are policies. We need to make time to read. We need to make time to understand. We need to be open to getting knowledge. We need to be open to having civil conversation. Every one of us will agree with me that if I would bring it down home, that it is said about us Liberians that we are hyper, we tense. When you get in the room, you talk louder, you from Liberia. We can't embrace these things. But yes, that's us. There are positive things on the inside of us. So the way we handle customer dissatisfaction is we create room for conversation, we create room for mediation. And if you're dissatisfied, we do our best to convince you, show you that we are doing what we can do, but we can't do it beyond what we know and beyond the resources or capacity we have. So when you still feel dissatisfied, how do I control your reaction?
Does a contract includes anything about refunds?
Yes. If we are fault, you're giving refund. And you will find that we've done that to people. In fact, it is okay to tell a person, I can't do it. I don't know it.
Okay.
And I see the money, but I can't take it because I wouldn't be able to help you. We do that. I just did it today.
Okay.
I just did it today.
Yeah, with the work you do for immigration, when it comes to immigration, it's emotional stuff. Right? I mean, right now we see what's going on. We see what's going on in this country, right? It's like so it's like people kind of are passionate about these things, right? So if you say you are providing advocacy regarding immigration, you have a nonprofit that kind of was specifically focused on immigration. We just want to be clear here: is Jeremiah person the only person? Is he your only customer that is dissatisfied with you? Have you had other instances where in like any of your businesses, where any of your 3 nonprofits, have you had customers like Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's only in the immigration portion. And I like the way you started it. Immigration is a very controversial thing, especially now, right? But we didn't just start doing this now. I've been doing this since 2018, August 15. I'll tell you. I started by having an office in my basement at my property in Brooklyn Center, and then moved on to renting an office space at the Brooklyn Center at the church. Then I moved my office to the consulate. Then now we are in Richfield and Minneapolis and so forth. All right. So yes, we have had customers who are dissatisfied. And here is the thing. We say customer dissatisfaction is something we pay attention to if we bring it down to business. However, that tendency of the customer is always right. That's in the moment of the controversy. But when you sit down and assess what you have done and know that you have done everything in keeping with your policy, and that person is still dissatisfied, that is where we throw the mediation piece. Then come back. Maybe you have to understand. Let me say this. When I write a business policy, I write that business policy to satisfy the growth and development and longevity of that business. And I also write the business policy, not excluding you, because the business does not function without you. Okay. So no, there are other people who have been dissatisfied. Like he said, somebody want a CG show, but one thing he missed, that the same people that want a CG show were the same people that brought a competitor to apologize. And I don't want to dive into that. That's not what this show should be about. That's not what this platform should be about. This platform should be about building. And I don't think you brought the wrong person on here, because then we are not embracing knowledge. We are not embracing, power in the community. We are not embracing that. So it would be telling me, the only message it would be sending me, well, go out there and do your thing and leave the community, whereby we have things to contribute, but people feel dissatisfied. So no, we have had dissatisfied customers. We have had people who are talking about on social media, but we are not deterred, because the truth is we are concerned about the greater good. then the lesser evil.
Okay.
So more
So
people are benefiting from what we do, and less people are doing that. But it sends a bad message that people will take to social media. And I wouldn't go on social media to go and defend those kind of things. So guess what? People out there will buy that story, right? Oh yeah, that's who that guy is. I was dissatisfied. I was this. So you see them running with that. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't
okay.
mean everything they're saying is true. Like I said,
Okay.
we don't do business outside of contracts.
Okay. Well, first of all, right, let me just say, if you're an immigrant and you live in America, let's say like in Canada, we'll bring you on here to feature you. Whatever you're doing, right, it's up to you, right? As Miss Jerry said, right, to hold yourself accountable, especially as a business person. It's your business that you're trying to promote. We'll bring you on here to, so long you're an immigrant, we'll bring you on here. And if someone call as well, right, we have to give them the opportunity, platform, right? To either ask questions or express their concern and things like that. So as I said, we are impartial, but we are here to promote immigrants, promote the immigrant community. Obviously, if there's controversy in our community, we also want to address it, right? And we want to make this platform a community platform. So there will be no way we won't invite you. You're always welcome here, right? It's up to you to defend yourself. It's your business, right? We'll do our part, right? To also right, protect our reputation by holding you accountable, asking you questions. We gotta be critical, right? We can't just let you up the hole because we have to play the balance game. But Titus, man, question from you.
I like how you put it. So while we protect everybody and give everybody the opportunity, we also keep you accountable. And that's why I respect the Sarga podcast and all of the panelists that come on here. So Samson, tell us. I mean, it seems again you're doing all these things in the community, and then there'll always be challenges, bottlenecks, areas for improvement in your work. Have you ever encountered a situation where maybe somebody wanted to come maybe under your mentorship, do business with you, but then maybe referenced some of these the challenges that they got reference from other customers who were dissatisfied? How did you handle it?
So one of the ways we handle those kind of situations is come in, learn, understand what we are made of and what we are doing. Because like I said, people are going to talk, people are going to say things, and you will never find me rudely approaching a customer. If you are dissatisfied and you want to come and talk about it, I'm open. And I tell people, by the grace of God, of all the things I got in my head, most of them are on talking. So I'm always available to talk. So when you avail yourself and you come, not with the mindset of wanting to fight, but wanting to understand, or express your grievances and let us say why we did what we did and hold ourselves accountable if we are at fault and we resolve these things. But you take the social media platform, there are people who want to come to us. You're tempering with our business. And so if someone were coming to us and say, oh, I want to come and let's forget about coming to work with us, but wanting to come and do business, when I really want to do business with you, I think from the way you sell yourself, I think it seems decent, but I'm a little hesitant. Then I tell you, how about you come and do business with us for the first time? Or how about you come and sit down, tell us what you want to do. We tell you what we can do and show you what we can do. And you feel that. And I will tell you what, we have gotten more clients, and especially the immigration side, we have gotten more clients than we have lost.
Okay.
More.
Just if you brought that immigration piece though, right? Are you just working when it comes to your immigration work? Are you just working with Liberians, immigrants,
No.
or are you working with every community, every immigrant community?
No. So I had a 9 a.m. meeting today with the Caucasian community in Rockford, Minnesota. If you hear about the Rock Church. So the Rock Church now, all the Latinos and Hispanic are without paper. Today, Pastor Keith Robinson and myself concluded that we are taking that contract. We will be providing immigration services for them.
What type of immigration services are you going to be providing?
So there are individuals who work for the church and they need the church is ready to give them status. So we are doing all the I-360s right now. We are working on all the I-360s. The Kenya community has an organization that we are providing strong support to. They call them, I don't know how to say it in there, but Parmesan, they got a big office somewhere in Brooklyn Center too. We are providing services. We've helped the Togolese community in Shakopee, Minnesota. And we are also working with the Ethiopian community, the Somali community. We have partners. We do have Somali lawyers that partner with us right now. Okay, lives in Minneapolis. So no, we are beyond the Liberian community.
with the immigration work that you do, what specific services, right? Because maybe like and the point I'm trying to drive at, right? I want you to kind of dig into the specific services you provide for your immigration, your nonprofit provides. But the point I'm trying to drive at, are you over promising and under delivering? And meaning that, so I want to ask specifically, what specific services are you promising your clients that you can provide them?
You could also leave your website information if any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will share the link. I will share the link with you guys. So I think that's a great question. I'm waiting for that because we got distracted by, and I said it's okay for people to come in and just
Don't call that
say their
distraction, right?
position on these kind of things.
First of all,
And
Spencer, let me hold you there a little bit, right? Don't call that a distraction because guess what? You're a businessman. I see
oh
you
yeah,
running no profits, right? Hey, sometimes you gotta take the bullet. And
oh yeah.
sometimes someone will put a pistol to your head. If you get taken, my man, then you shouldn't be in business. So don't call that distraction, right? I think it was necessary for the show. It was necessary for you, right? To take that kind of bullet, right? It might have been to your head, but I don't think you should call that distraction. But go ahead.
I take that into consideration. And people think we don't have the balls. We're still living, right?
Yeah.
We're still living. I can tell you that
So
we will
tell
keep
us,
doing what we do. So
yeah.
coming back to your question, if you can repeat the question for me.
There are specific services, right? Your
Okay, great.
immigration private provides, and I mean, the reason why maybe customers are dissatisfied. Are you over promising and under delivering?
Over promising, under delivering is a brilliant point. I'll tell you what. When you sign a contract with us, the specific service you come for. Let's say you wanted to file for relatives. Now, so we do the I-130 service. That's I-130 is a petition that filed for U.S. citizen filing for their relative from another country to come to the United States of America. That's the I-130. Beyond the I-130, there's something called I-485, which is the change of status or change of status form or petition, and then we have the I-765, which is the work authorization. We have the I-131 and so forth. So what we are doing specifically, because you cannot afford 20 fees. When you're filing one petition, you go to one immigration lawyer. He tell you it's 7,000, it's 5,000. Okay. And I'll tell you what, these are legal work. They're not easy to do. You just see the form. Don't just go there. It's just a form. You gotta be knowledgeable. You gotta know what you're doing. It's just a form. So let me go ahead and fill it up. That's not how it works. Okay. Somebody attacked me saying, well, I could just go on there and fill up a form and you took my money. I'm like, yeah, if you go there and fill up a form and you get stuck, you come back, you don't know how to move forward. That is where we come in. Okay. We've had people who we did not file petitions for, but they come back and after immigration hit them hard, they come back to us. We jump in a situation and we try to write immigration. We have access to contacting immigration directly. We have immigration portal for our business. Sorry.
Let me hold you there though, right? Let me just hold you there, and we gotta make sure that we're providing the right information to our audience. Are you associated with a law firm providing these services? Are you doing it as a paralegal? Or what gave you, how is your immigration services structure? Because normally, right, those services that you're talking about, maybe it might be a law firm, an immigration law firm. Are you associated with any immigration law firm? Or are you just playing it, just filling out the form and having contact with immigration? Help that, make that make sense to our audience, please.
Okay, so ABS, how it works. For the issue of partnership, we have partnership with 4 different law firms. We have criminal, we have civil, we have family, and we have immigration. Okay. We got partnership with 4. There are people who have come to our office with criminal cases. I don't dive into it. I just don't. Okay. We refer it to a law firm in Bloomington that we do partnership with. There are people who have come to our office with serious family law things. A lot of my family law clients. I intern in family law. So just so you know, one of my background undergraduate is in legal studies. So I'm not just sitting here and not legally inclined. Okay. The other thing I would say, you do not have to be a practicing attorney to file legal paperwork. Okay.
Why
you
not?
do not have to be a practicing attorney to file immigration paperwork.
Explain that.
No, it's not a must. There is nothing in the law that requires is that. So when you look at the immigration form, they'll say your attorney or authorized representative. Look at immigration document. That authorized representative could include your advocate, and that's why you will see when you go to immigration court right there, St. Paul, Minneapolis. You go there, you will see all the human rights advocacy group, they have their people there every Thursday, just like us. We're advocating for people. And one of my masters is in advocacy, plus my legal status degree. Okay. So it gives me that backing, that support to be able to do what I'm doing. So I have the qualification to file a petition. I can go to the immigration court and advocate for you. We have people in the community. When I have my office at the consulate, we have people in the community who were in dangerous situation, and they did not know that we have that the capacity to even go to the federal court. And we took some of them there and we got them out of their situations. I'm telling you the truth. So that is the power of advocacy, and the law respect that.
So if it happens to file a client petition or fill that paperwork and goes to immigration, there's a problem with it. Does immigration communicate with you or the communicate with the client?
Yes. We got all of the notifications. They come here. Even we set up a small business. We got I think 4 or 5 notifications today. I did meeting with 2 small businesses. We helped to start in the community, and we found contracts for them. We do a lot of things. We help you start your small business. We found contracts for you. I just secured a contract today. But so yes, the direct answer to that question is yes.
If immigration is coming directly to you when you help your clients fill out that paperwork, where is the problem coming in? Where's the disconnect? Where is it like if a client is denied, if maybe they're in a case, right? Like the caller that I called earlier, when they are denied or the face problem of immigration, where's the disconnect? Why are they coming back to you to say, hey, the clients have had problem with you? Where's the disconnect? Where's the problem coming from?
Knowledge. Not being willing to understand how these things work. And the way, again, I don't
knowledge that are you telling them that, hey man, if immigration denies you, are you putting it specifically in the contract, right? It's your company or your nonprofit putting it specifically in the contract. If immigration denies you, it has nothing to do with us. It might be something, it's like, hey, immigration can deny anyone, but if they deny you, it's not up to us. Is that specifically in your contract?
Well, that is in our contract. We had a 7-page contract that we now reduced to 3. But let me say this, Abe, before we even go further, I'm trying not to make the show about.
No, like we are diving into your business.
So
right?
I just want to. And I'm gonna answer the question, but I just don't want to make the show like my presence here that drifting from the piece of unity. All right, but let me answer your question.
Get back to that a little bit, right? But just
right? Let me move forward to answer your.
Part of the unity is tied to the services you're providing. So,
right.
Exactly.
So let me answer that question. So in our contract, like I said, we tell you the services we can provide. We give you our card. Our card does not say a law firm. No. Our contract does not say a law firm. No. Even with the law firm, when immigration deny your petition, like the law firm, we will call you, or if you receive that notice before us, you receive the notice, you come, we talk about it. We found the reason for denial. We have the ability to file something called your I-290 or your EOR-29. Those are all appeal documents we're able to file. So we file those documents, and people get frustrated. So we are filing these appeals, and we go after it, we just don't sit back. If it's a thing where you have to go to court, then we bring in our immigration partner lawyers. And
when you
let me ask.
Yeah. Go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead.
So you're advocating, right? You're advocating in this legal field, and you're basically handling administrative legal documents and processes for people. While doing that, are you also providing legal advices to your client, or at what point do you involve an attorney or a lawyer?
Yeah, I think that is a great question. I think if you heard me right just now, that was a note on which I ended. If it has to go to court where litigation is involved, we cannot stand in a court for you and say we are litigating this matter for you. But we have services, we have resources, we have network of other firms that we bring in. I give you a typical example: the Minnesota Human Rights Organization. They have tons of lawyers, volunteer lawyers all around. Then the Minnesota Volunteer Lawyers Network, we do partnership with all these people. If it gets to the point where it goes into litigation, then we move on to them. We've never had a situation where you needed to go to We needed to go to court. Okay.
Go ahead. Don't focus on the
We,
comment.
we needed to go to court and and tell I mean and adjudicate your issue with immigration. We have not had a situation like that ever since 2018 because we put time into people work. Okay, most of the people who work for Africans, and we understand, like you said, AB before, it's frustrating. The immigration. I've never been in an immigration situation because the way I came here, but I mean, we understand people frustration, and if people would just give us a chance to understand what we do, again, I always going to revert to the contract. The contract is clear, but are you taking your time to read? And that's our responsibility. Take your time, read the contract, know what we are doing. Make sure you understand the contract, ask questions. We never let you sign our contract without reviewing the contract with you. So if you do not understand and you're looking for more, when you read a contract and we tell you what services we provide, then you'll be able to reject the services and say, this is not what I'm looking for. Or, okay, yeah, I think you can help me. On the other hand, people want to pay low or no charges or costs for services. And so they will run to us. And that's part of the reason why we even started this, because now everybody can afford that $7,000, $10,000, $15,000. No one who have worked with us will tell you that man charge me over $1,500. No matter the intensity of that matter, if we can't do it, we tell you go. If there's something we can work on, getting your family over here, filing petition, a renowned brother in the community, family of 8 just came. We did that. And he was just here at my house the other day and said, my man, we need not glasses. I mean, I'm just telling you that while there will be dissatisfied people, there are satisfied people. So that's business. But we are not making promises that we cannot keep. That doesn't mean we don't hit bumps.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miss Jerry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like you have something really good going on and you mean well for the community. However, you should understand within our community now a lot of people are educated.
Yeah.
So you keep making emphasis on the contract. Just because you gave someone a contract and you told them to read it doesn't mean that they understand what's in the contract. So I feel like part of your services and advocacy, there should be some educational aspect where you take your time, you personally, or hire an assistant to help these people go through the contract and explain it in layman terms, ABC. So you're not having all these backlash and all these unsatisfied customers coming back and complaining about things that could easily have been explained in the beginning to begin with.
Okay,
thank you very much. That's a great point. If I respond,
go ahead.
The last part I concluded on said, we never give you a contract without explaining the contract and asking you if you understand and you have contract. You will not sign. When it comes to my style of leadership, Jerry, people think I'm too critical. Well, I've been accusing the community, all the organizations I went to, something is too critical. Something about we just gotta do certain things the way we do them. But then again, I get your point though. But here is the thing: you will see that you set a person down. You will explain the contract. Again, we do not give you the contract to sign until we have explained the contract. Ask you if you have questions.
Okay.
That's part of the reason why we reduce because of the knowledge piece you mentioned. That's why we reduce our contract from a 7 pages contract to a 3 pages contract. If I send you a copy of my contract, you will see that we even narrow it to summarize things. Now, here is the thing. If a person who approached me for services is not educated at all, I would be taking an advantage. It's a disadvantage to that person to sit down and just say, let's do business. So bring somebody who understands. I always ask my clients that. We have old ladies, 70 years old, 65 years old, that we provide services for. So we do not allow them to sit there alone. We've had a girl coming from the same gentleman. We had a girl who brought her lawyer. And I mean, not lawyer, but how to bring her social worker. Okay, like I said, I don't want to be personal on the show. It's immature of me about dive into Jeremiah, but
first of all, you're trying to promote your businesses that you have, and trying to promote your brand, right? So hey, you can take whatever route you want to take. But here's the thing I want to make clear, folks. But let me put in 3 commercials here first, and then we'll try to make this. Folks, we are discussing a unified immigrant community. We have our guest panelist Samson H. Williams on the show tonight. The comments are coming in hot. You can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. But Samson, just one thing I want to clarify though, for your businesses, right? You have 3 nonprofits. For the immigration piece, that it seems to be really focused on providing services to the community. You want to unify the community in the spirit of unity. If you truly want to provide a service to the community, it's a nonprofit. Can you make it make sense? Why are you charging fees to to your clients if it's a nonprofit. Yeah, it's I mean, is it the registered 501c3 nonprofit, or is it for profit business, especially specifically to immigration? Make it, for the education of our audience. I just want to understand, if it's a nonprofit, why are you charging fees? And if it's a nonprofit as well, is it a registered nonprofit?
We register. Look us up on all of the things. I like to address that piece. We're very registered. We renew our registration every year. We
Is it a 501c3
our
nonprofit?
our organization, all of our organizations are nonprofit 501c3s. Okay.
Okay.
To come to your point, there is nothing in the law that says a nonprofit should not charge for services. It depends what you're charging, that you can't go above certain amount. But there is nothing in the law that says a nonprofit should not charge fees for services. Absolutely nothing. Other than that, the churches will not take offering and tithe.
Okay.
There is nothing in the law that says you cannot charge. But how much are you charging? It's a compared to that. So there are fees that you take that put you in a bracket of, well, no, you can't be a nonprofit and taking this kind of money, and this is what you're reporting. And they're looking at that. There's fiduciary responsibility to every nonprofit organization. You gotta hold very tight, or else you're in serious trouble. So to clear that, there is nothing that says we shouldn't charge for fees. Fees. Now you have to understand, we're providing services. We got people who work. We got people we pay by commission. We got people that do referral. We got something called referral bonus. So if a person refers a person to us, not only that we give that person discount for whatever service, but we are not, like I said it on the show. We, in worst case scenario, the max we will take from a person is $1,500 to get people on your case. And that $1,500, even if you are to go to court, you're not paying extra money, because then we bring in other people that we get compensation. Okay, you can pay. Let's say somebody brought up the issue of whether to get a lawyer to go to court. Who pay for his mileage? Who pay for his gas? Who pay for his lunch?
Okay. The other thing I want to throw in there, right? You've been passionate about the community. You want to unite the community. You're passionate about, the unified immigrant community, especially the Black immigrant community. Don't you think, with the unity message you are preaching, and you have a nonprofit that is registered, don't you think, it will be a good idea, right? A good public service to provide maybe I'll get how to connection or whatever, you know what I mean? But the point I was trying to bring up there was, is it possible that yeah. So Samson has apologize for that technical difficulty there. But the point I was trying to drive at, right? You are passionate about the community. You are passionate about immigrant unity, trying to unify the African immigrant unity, especially the Black community. Don't you think it would be good to provide? You have a nonprofit, it's registered 501c3. Don't you think it would be good just to provide that services to our people free? Because most of our people, as you said, right, have difficulty. You can then from there, right, you can apply for grants, right? There are grants out there that you could apply for to provide these services to our people free. Why don't you think that would be a good route, instead of you charging them and then some of them feel dissatisfied?
Yeah. So you made a very good point. Sometimes people think because they pay for these services, so they when they feel dissatisfied, they take these kind of routes. Okay, that the brother just told. So I see where you're coming from with that. However, the fact that a nonprofit will get grants, again, doesn't mean they don't do fee for service, but it depends how much you're charging. On top of that, you have to understand that we decide how we run the business. If you don't think that because we ask you for $50, $500, $300, so it means that we're not helping you, so you can come out and come at us and kind of way. These are the things that we should be addressing in the community. Okay. Decide how to run the business, and I can say you can decide how to run your business. And like I said, we have other people. We have people working for us. We got people who we push paperwork on. Bro, I can't handle all of these things. These things are over 237. I work from home all day today, and these are over 237. There's part up in my garage. So you got people coming in. Even if I take my daughter, I have a daughter that's in college. If I take my daughter from her college lesson and say, and that's Tato's niece, right? And I take her, right? That family right there, that man right there, the less much that's if I take my daughter from campus and say, you're coming to work for me today, guess what? I took her from campus. I should be able to tell her, Victor, I'm responsible for your Uber fee, and I'm responsible for your lunch, or maybe you got something coming up on campus. I'm responsible for your hair this weekend. The young girls, my daughter is 20, only 21. All right. Okay. So we should be able to compensate people. Besides, how do we donate to other people? Now you have to understand, 501c3 too, we are able to donate. We should be able to donate. We should be able to give to the community. Have we been donating? Check all of my platform, all of my work in the community with the Christian community. I am one of the person you call to MC your program or raise fund. I do a lot of fundraising in the Christian community. Guess what? I will not ask people for money without me giving money. My record stands to defend me. I will, if you're asking $500, I will put $500 before I ask somebody for $10. So how do we get this money?
Okay.
Again, we decide how to structure the business financially.
Okay, Tyler's question from you.
A lot of gems here dropping tonight.
Yeah.
So, Sim, so in your effort to run your different, and again, man, please try to leave the name of your businesses, your organizations here, your nonprofits, so that we can also share that with the audience tonight. But have you collaborated with any local organizations or government entity in your effort to bring your business to the community, and also, just with this whole piece of bringing this unified effort to the community? Any other groups that you collaborate with?
Great question. When I started my introduction, I told you we partner with several other organizations. I told you we are in Minneapolis right now with another group called Justice Initiative that is headed by Executive Director. I went to graduate school with him, Executive Director Justin Terrell. We do partnership with them. We do partnership with the Somali community, the Kenyan community. We do partnership with the Hmong community right now, and we do partnership with Black students organizations on Vero University campus. So yes. So first thing before I go
local Liberian community group.
Well, there's not a lot of local Liberian communities that are doing what we are doing that we established partnership with, not that I know of. So before I go further, time for me is 9:03, and I thought it was an hour show, but I can give few more minutes before.
We'll soon wrap it up. We'll soon wrap it up.
So Tyler's, if we found people in the community that are doing this work and say, hey, this is what they do as well. I give you an instance. A gentleman called me and said, this person said you didn't draft the form correctly. I came back to them. I said, okay, what do you want to do? Say, I don't have an organization, but I know how to do paperwork. Do you want me to go tell that man, say, because you know how to do paperwork, that's what we're going to do? I told him, tell the person to come back. Let's sit down. If you want to come with them, let's sit down, understand where they think we did not do well. And that's exactly what he did. Okay. He came over to me at my Minneapolis office and sat with me and said, these are what we feel they're satisfied. When I walked through them, he volunteered. Today, he's one of our side volunteers. I'm proud of it.
Okay. This is, like I said, this is a 1 hour show. Obviously, we have gone another 1 hour, 27 minutes. So because of the little bit of technical difficulty we have, and we'll try to wrap this up here quickly. A few more things here, right? Can you address this, right? There are a lot of immigration services out there that are free, right? And for you, as you say, you charge for yours, right, to help the community. Why should someone come to, an immigrant who has an immigration situation come to you versus going to a free service?
Well, if you find it's a choice. Now, that's a great question. That part. Now, you think about it. When I tell you about our clientele, is growing every day. So that question is why it goes to me. It goes to the people who have issues. Why are people coming? We don't want to work in Minnesota. We got clients outside of Minnesota. Okay. We went to the point of even setting up an office in North Dakota. We went to the point of setting up an office space in Iowa. We went as far as Cedar Rapids to set this up. Okay. So the reason you come to me is because you're convinced I'm knowledgeable. It's because you're convinced that I'm able I know what I'm doing. It's because you know that we're in your interest, and the extreme we will go, the time we put into the work, the way we explain the services, these are things that we attract you to come. And the deliverables.
Free services don't provide that. The services you provide, the free services don't provide that.
Well, if the free service provider and you're comfortable, here's the thing we don't do. Because a person came to ask me a question, I don't say I will not answer your question because you're not working with us. Guess what? People call me. A few days ago, my wife and I in a house, and I get a telephone call doing non-working hours. Guess what? That person just wanted to ask immigration question. That person came to us before promise of coming back to work. They did not go. It's been 2 years later. She had called to ask me serious questions about how she and her husband, who is now here, can go about things. Guess what? Okay. We provided explanation. We provided guidance. I don't need you to come and work with me. But if you found my knowledge acceptable, We will help you. We will answer your question. You don't pay. It's free.
Okay. Okay. Well, folks, tonight we have been discussing ourselves for the last 1 hour, 30 minutes in a unified immigrant community, and the conversation has gotten harder, right? To me, it did not take any distraction, right? The services you are providing services to the immigrant community, and you are focused on, providing immigration services, something the community needs, right? I think you are providing a vital service. However, way is like, if the clients have problem with it, that's something obviously, right? You would need to work on, but for the sake of time, right? We all, for the sake of time, we'll try to wrap this up. So I'll give my panelists, the opportunity to ask one last question, and we'll try to wrap this up. Miss Jerry, I'll start with you, and I'll go to my main titles. Miss Jerry, last question from you. You unmute. One last question from you, unmute.
No, I don't have
Anything
any.
you want to ask?
I don't have
You don't have
any.
any?
No.
Okay. Titus, one last question from you. Right, we already go 1 hour 30 minutes.
So, Mr. William, I would like to say thank you for your time here tonight. We truly appreciate you and the manner in which you've conducted yourself. Though you've had a call of dissatisfaction, it speaks to how you actually handle your business. If there's anything you want to leave with us and our folks in the audience, the community watching you tonight, I mean, what would that one thing be?
Thank you very much. For my parting statement, all I can say, because the trend is conversation talk. If you are dissatisfied, if you've done business with us and you're dissatisfied, we apologize. However, we are open to addressing your grievances. You just got to take the right channel. The brother said, I'm about to go on a show right now to do live. How does that solve the problem? Let's agree that we owe you $1 million. You leave social media, that's a defamation. Now, the law says the only justification of the defamation is truth. Okay, it's truth. So when you have no fact in what you're saying, because I'm not there explaining my side, so it's one side of that story. So how about you reach out, be civil, let's have a conversation about what your dissatisfaction is. That doesn't mean because you say we owe you, that means it's true that we owe you. We're going to tell you, try to convince you why we don't owe you. If you feel dissatisfied, we are open to lawsuits. I tell people all the time, that's the approach. That's not us going there trying to do things to people just because we know that they will just go to court. No, that's because we try to convince you and you say not seeing reason. And the proper remedy for our problem in this community, it has become a portion in the community where people are just taking the social media, just tearing people down. And that's part of the reason why you saw I wanted to bring this to our community. What good is it doing for the community? Now, you don't see that easily happening in other communities. You don't see that. That's part of the reason why a person will take their focus from their own community and divert it to other community, and they're benefiting from them. Like our common saying, your prophet is not respected in his home, right? So you will see that people will run from the community and go do business outside. People will move from our community. Now, I tell you what, a lot of Liberians who are gaining knowledge, becoming entrepreneurs, and what have you, they will tell you, no, I don't want to live in Brooklyn Park. Bro, I raised my kids in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. It's a decent place to live. I do not encourage people trying to say, I'm leaving the Liberian community. No.
Okay.
You don't want to do that. So what I would say to people, it's okay to be dissatisfied, but it's also okay to channel your grievances in the right way instead of thinking that the power of social media is to tear one another down. That is disunity. It does not unify our community. And my parting statement would be, let us find the better approach to deal with one another. Let's teach our kids something better, because these are lessons for the children to learn. Our children are on social media too. Okay. My 7-year-old daughter will go in our room right now, and you next thing you know, she wants something on an iPad, something on a tablet. You're trying to go to this place, that place, anything might pop up. Somebody could take an excerpt of this conversation, put it on TikTok. The kids are on TikTok, they go and watch it. All right. Okay. So we ought to be careful, because you're not just hurting the community, you're hurting your kids as well. You're not sending good message. So it shouldn't be the only remedy or the first, thing that comes to mind to do when you have differences with somebody. Let's forget about me. Let's forget about my work. But how about we talk about other people? Like maybe a person is dissatisfied with his pastor, his imam, whatsoever. Do you go to the deacons in the church? Do you go to and trying to, instead of coming to tear the church name down or the mosque down? So that's not the way. In order for us to build a unified community, there are a lot of conversations that need to be held, and we need we take responsibility, we take accountability. It's a thing. Okay, we hold ourselves accountable when we wrong people. We're not ashamed to say sorry. First thing when I started giving my parting statement, you hear from me, I say I apologize to dissatisfied customer. I just said that and I repeated that again. All right.
Okay.
I just repeated
Okay.
that. Again, I'll say it for the third time. We apologize to dissatisfied customers. That doesn't mean what you're dissatisfied about is fact. However, maybe you are not just handling it the right way. And if you think we are not handling it the right way, we are open to having that conversation with you.
Okay.
We're not ditching your views. But it was great being on the show. And
Yeah.
again, the
Well,
community just have to see the need to come together, come stronger. I'm proud of what you guys are doing. And
sure.
the next time I'll be on the show, I'll probably be talking about the books. They are coming up for launch. I'll send the details to Titus. We got one book called Felons for President. It's up. It's in final edit. It's called Felons for President. If they can run the country, they can run our government too. We are in that book. We are talking about our people who got felonies and went to prison, and we elected a president that I'm not against the president, but we elected a president with 34 counts. So if a brother served his time as a felon and he
Man,
came out,
I'm a man talking
rehabilitation,
about. I'm a
reintegration.
man talking about. So watch your say.
That'll
Talking
be a
about
good
man.
one. That'll
Come
be a
on.
good one.
And then let me
Talking about
just throw
man.
light on the second book, if I may. The
That'll be
second
a
one is
great
called
agreement.
the second book is called The Liberian Leadership from Bad to Worse. And we see that's just the downtrend. We talk about election. We talk about the people having knowledge of what election is, the power of their vote. We're talking about bad precedents in government, how we approach them, and what have you. We talk about social media as well, the social media and print media impact on government and governance. So they are all in those two books. So hopefully next time I come, we'll be able to talk about them more. But I'm grateful, Jerry, Titus, AB. I mean, I'm not
I mean,
going to go anymore.
I'm feeling with you. My last question.
We're not
Please
done
go
yet.
ahead.
My last point to you here, right? Is like you have all the, and our community. I know can be negative, but sometimes if you have folks out there coming at you, right? Like the caller earlier, and other folks coming at you. You have a business, right? To me, your business, your reputation is also your business. You have a brand to
Definitely.
protect. What remedies, what actions are you taking? Either maybe like because some of these might be defamation, right? But if you have folks coming at you, like what happened today, or folks accusing you, if you know within yourself, right, it's not true. What remedies are you taking to solve that? Either, I mean, you can also sue them, right, if you feel like you want to be
Yeah,
right. But what
I've done it.
remedies are you taking to what to solve this situation? Because as we talk about a unified immigrant community, we cannot leave things that are unresolved, right? If folks are coming at you as nice, we have to find a way, and you have to find a way because you have a reputation, you have a business. I mean, but you have to find a way to see how can you, if the mediation thing is not working, I think maybe you guys need to go another route, and it's also up to because you have a reputation and a business to protect.
Thank you, AB. That's a great point. As a matter of fact, we have done that. We've been to court. We got, I'm not going to say name. We have 3 females that end up going to court on one petition, and they got kicked out of court against us. And we provide all of the documentation, and they got fined $70 to pay us. I'm not going to say name whatsoever. All right. So I'm okay with going to court. I think dealing with the police, I would choose the court. Okay. No disrespect to the police, they are doing their work. But the place these things are resolved, the final result of these things is in the courthouse. In our community, we think that when a person takes you to court, you become his enemy. You guys are enemy. No, the court is where we go to find solution to problem that we cannot handle amongst ourselves. That mediation. Even when you go to the court on civil matter, the judge will also recommend mediation. Okay, you recommend mediation. So alternative dispute resolution is a powerhouse for conflict resolution. Okay. And so that we are open. On top of that, we are also open to people coming to us and say, Samson Williams, you're this, you super. I came for all to sit down and talk about these things. You gotta tell me why I'm not. But these telephones are here. They are 3, bro. You got our numbers. Just reach out, call us, be safer. Now here is the thing: the fact that you feel dissatisfied, that doesn't mean you disrespect my person too, though. All right. I'm not gonna curse you because you're cursing me. However, I get to choose that I don't want to talk to you because you're not understanding things from my point, and the way for us to do it, just take time off that telephone conversation so that it doesn't get heated. Okay. So I would take time off the telephone conversation. The hope is that you reach out with someone on a text message, or normally we also reach out to people too. We reach out to people. You said this, you said that. How can we talk about it? I got a very dissatisfied customer right now where I am bothered. I'm being honest with you. I got a very dissatisfied person who we have greatly, they appreciated all the work, but one thing was dissatisfactory to them. Hey, I hold myself responsible. I'm still reaching out to try to get it resolved. And that's how we operate.
Okay. Well, folks, it's been a great conversation tonight. Our lines have been had, the comment have been had, I mean, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Samson, man, the fact that you had the courage to come here to talk about unified immigrant community, right? We won't have unity if we don't address some controversy, right? We have to address this thing. We have to face the music. The fact that you had the courage to be here tonight, to face the music for 1 hour, 39 minutes,
Yeah.
they give you kudos for that. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Hey, your
sorry to interrupt you, AB. I wanted to say this. Being unified doesn't mean we have to agree. Unity doesn't mean everybody agree. We will all agree on the same thing. Okay, let's get that straight. We will not always agree on the same thing, but how we address our disagreement is what unity is.
Paramount.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well, that's a gems right there, right? And we hope the community can take it, right? Because it's a community show. We're here to provide education to our community. We are not judgment of characters here at Sacco Podcast. We are not judgment of characters. Right? We'll bring any immigrant on here. If you want to come on here, man, just contact my man Tyler. He's a chief strategist, right? So you can come on here anytime. So thank you so much, Samson. Miss Jerry, it's been good as well having you here. We hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. It was a 1 hour 40-minute show. But Samson, thank you so much. And you guys have a good night. We'll see you guys Sunday for the social segment. And we'll be back here next week with some great guests. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Samson. We'll hope to see you again soon.
Samson, I'd love to hear more about your business. So.
Please, just that doesn't get you all my contact.
Send us the business information so we can put it.
Yeah, I will send the link. I will send the link to the website of Tyler.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, and good night, everyone. Thank you.
Turn on your screens, let the